They told me there was a horrible incident. My son and his girlfriend, Anya, basically were burned alive in their car.
She was my daughter. He said Anya's name. I said, yes, it's my daughter. My wife came downstairs and she was screaming and crying. She said, no, 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 no.
We brought you this story yesterday. An update now today on the heartbreaking story about an illegal immigrant convicted in a DUI crash that killed 2 teenagers 3 years ago. Now set for an early release from prison in California. Maybe. The Trump administration heard about it. It's now pursuing felony immigration charges against him. My next guest says he faces up to 20 years in federal prison if convicted. Bill Essayli is the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California. Bill, good morning to you. Thank you for your time. Governor Newsom apparently is waving in the feds on this as well. Let me read you part of his statement and you can react to it. He says, after being deported in 2013, this individual unlawfully re-entered the U.S. and committed heinous crimes. A GOP DA then gave him a plea deal instead of pursuing second-degree murder. CDCR, which is the California Department of Correction and Rehabilitation, will again coordinate with ICE as they have with 10,000 plus inmates to transfer him before release. What is your take on this now as it stands at the moment, Bill? Go ahead.
I think it's completely shameful for the governor to try to deflect on this. This individual, who is a criminal illegal alien who killed 2 innocent teenagers, was sentenced to a 10-year state prison term. And sentence was delivered by the judge in Orange County. He's only 3 years into his sentence, and the prison is releasing him. The prison is operated by the governor. Governor Newsom is solely responsible for operating the prison and allowing his release, but this is the name of the game in California. They've been releasing prisoners for a decade. We have half as many prisoners in California as we did a decade ago, and this is the policy up in Sacramento. So it's just unconscionable for him to deflect like this.
Yeah, Tom Homan was with us yesterday. We asked him about it on our program here. Watch.
And I guarantee you, if they don't honor a detainer, we have ICE agents outside that facility to take custody of this individual and deport him. He's been deported several times, which means he's a felon. We're trying to remove these public safety threats and national security threats as quick as possible. They're putting every roadblock imaginable in front of us to prevent us from doing that.
Bill, the way I said, this is one of these worst case situations with illegals. Multiple illegal entrants that resulted in the death of an American citizen.
This is what happens when you have an open border policy like we did in the prior administration. But those days are over. Under this administration, our borders are closed, and I've made it a top priority in my office, and I know throughout the United States, to enforce our immigration laws. So this defendant, he's not going to get free. He's not going to be deported. He's coming to my jurisdiction, and we're going to prosecute him. And once he's convicted, he's going to spend many years in federal prison, and then he'll be deported again.
You heard the criticism that the governor had toward the judge. This Pew survey that came out a few weeks ago, just read it here. The percentage of those who say they're confident in the judges in the United States federal courts. Here's what we found. 44% not to or not at all. 39% said somewhat. What's that tell us about the rule of law in America and a measure of confidence?
Well, I think that probably has more to do with these judges granting injunctions nationwide every time the president tries to enact a mandate that the American people asked him to do. That's probably coming more from that than anything else. But also in California, they've appointed a lot of liberal judges who are just very light on sentencing, and the governor appoints most of those judges. So again, to the extent he's critical of anything that happens in the state of California, he's the governor and he's at the helm. So he needs to point that blame at himself.
Yeah, how much attention does this story get in your state?
It's a big story, and it's devastating. I feel so bad for that family. Can you imagine to lose 2 19-year-olds, their whole life ahead of them, and to learn on Easter that this murderer that murdered their kids is going to be let out after 3 years? That's a joke. It's harming them all over again. It's an injustice, and I hope that by us charging him and making sure that he serves an adequate time, at least in federal prison, it'll bring a sense of justice to this family.
Good luck, okay? Bill Essayli, appreciate your time today from California.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.